Did you guys know about the Creature Crate Patreon? Every month you'll get amazing files that you can make, like this Donkey Kong, this dragon, this robot tech scarab, this Cerberus, or this super cool set of Bulbasaurs. You can also sell the prints from these files as an authorized seller. Join the Creature Crate Patreon now. Link is in the description below. Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here. In this 3D Printed Profits episode, I have with us Steven. Steven, where are you coming from, man?
I'm coming from Akron, Ohio.
Akron, Ohio. Hate LeBron James. Sorry, just had to put that out there. Not a fan. Anyway, so Steven comes to us and he started his business about 2 months ago and he's already profitable. You guys, that's insane. And so we're going to dive into how Steven started and now runs his business and what the plans are for the future, so on and so forth. And remember, all of Steven's links are going to be in the description below if you're on YouTube. And if you're in your favorite podcast player, it's going to be in the show notes. Make sure you guys also follow us in the Facebook group where we talk about all kinds of stuff related to using your 3D printer as a side hustle. All right, so let's start. Steven, welcome to the show, man.
Glad to be here. Awesome. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're welcome. So let's get started here, man. What's your background? Like, how did you get into 3D printing?
Actually, I've been a computer nerd since I was like a teenager. I when I was going to high school, I took a class through a place called National Radio Institute and learned how to build a computer. I think I was 15. And since then, it's snowballed into doing anything that's related to technology. And a few years ago, I started looking into resin printing. And so I ended up getting one of the first resin printers, which was a Priopoli Moai. 1,500 pieces, came in a box. I had to put it together. Thankfully, it worked. Right, after I put it together, that was awesome. I also got a Dremel filament printer, so I could learn about that tech. Sadly, because of my work, I was always constantly working, so I wasn't able to dive as deep as I wanted to on it. But I continued to let my friends know that I had resin printers and that I was going to be printing miniatures and dungeon tiles. Mm-hmm. So when we had D&D games, we could actually have dungeons, and we could actually have a not only theater of the mind with D&D, but also have a battlefield where they can actually see the battles. And from there, it kind of snowballed. So then I had people wanting me to make miniatures for them. They'd go to Hero Forge and design them, and then I would print them out for them. Or they'd want me to do a dungeon for them. So they'd give me the plans, and then I'd print out the tiles. And we get as close as possible, because sometimes, depending on the dungeon tiles you use, they're not as cooperative as the actual map that you're trying to design.
Gotcha. So how much do you guys make in your business right now?
Right now, last 60 days, I made about $1,500.
That's not bad, man. So we can call it an average of $750 a month.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So dude, that's not bad. $750, that's pretty significant. So how did you come up with the idea of niching to Dungeons and Dragons?
Actually, it wasn't specifically Dungeons and Dragons. It was actually my girlfriend. She likes playing, but she always has had a problem when we play to finding a female character that looks like a hero more than she looks like a victim or someone that wants to go out. Someone who wants to go out and party after the fight. You know what I mean? So I had noticed that there was a Kickstarter for D&D as a woman. Mm-hmm. And what they were doing was they were designing powerful, heroic female miniatures for the people that couldn't find them. And so that just like filled that right up. I mean, my girlfriend's been looking for stuff like this. So I became a merchant with them. And I also started looking at other Patreon starters and or Kickstarters, and I noticed that there wasn't really that many that actually did heroic female characters. Most of them were like I said, they look like victims, or they look like they wanted to go out and party and stuff like that. So I ended up finding more. So that's the niche that I found, is heroic female characters for D&D.
That's awesome,
which
man.
Which is one of the reasons why we named our website Femme Fatale Miniatures.
Sweet. We'll be sure to link that down in the description below, man. So how did you guys get your first clients and your first customers? How did that work?
Word of mouth, actually. It's from playing D&D locally, and someone would see that miniature or see the dungeons and go, where'd you get that at? And then I told them I made them. Oh, that's cool. And then next thing I know, well, can I give you this person your number? Because they want, to get some dungeon tiles, or they want some minis for an adventure. And it just snowballed.
Cool, man. So when they found your stuff, they asked you, where you got the stuff. What happened next? How did you guys grow?
I basically explained to them that I'm a maker. So I make miniatures and things like that with 3D printers. And I told them I could make dungeon tiles for them. I showed them some examples. Of course, they would see them on the table when we were playing, and they could check out the miniatures. I do some painting as well, which is something that we're going to be integrating into the Etsy store as well, as actually painted miniatures. And everybody just really liked the quality of the prints. And since then, I've actually upgraded my printer farm. So it's pretty advanced now.
Nice,
as far as what I can do.
So when you say you upgraded your printer farm, did you take the profits from your sales and bought more machines? Is that what you guys did?
Yeah, I reinvested.
Okay.
You have to. I mean, you want to get a stable footing. I mean, because the pillar is only as strong as the base.
Right. So you have to create a good foundation, and you have to be able to meet the production demand.
Exactly. So I did some investigating, and as far as dungeon tiles, so I kind of shifted away from the filament printing and went full steam ahead into resin printing.
Okay.
So right now I actually have 4 printers. I have a Anycubic Photon Mono 6K. I have an Anycubic Photon M3 Plus. I have an Elgu Mars 3.
The best
and
one
I also have,
so far,
which is my little baby. And this is the one that I actually print most of my minis on, that I sell on Etsy, because the
Elgu is by far the best brand for resin printers, hands down. I'm not getting paid to say that either.
No. Well, my baby that actually blows them all away, which is hilarious, is my Anycubic Photon Ultra. And it's a DLP. It's not an LCD.
No kidding.
So it actually, the definition on these prints is just mind-boggling. And it's
Mono Ultra?
Yeah. No, it's just called Photon Ultra.
Oh, Photon Ultra. Okay.
It's a DLP, so it doesn't use an LCD screen. It actually uses a projection lens that projects on there.
No,
so there's less
kidding.
glare. Yeah, so there's less glare, so the clarity on the print is clearer.
Plus, it's so interesting. I've never heard of a DLP printer until just now.
This is the first one to market. They're actually going to be coming out with a Anycubic Ultra Pro here soon, which I'm sure I'm going to be buying, because.
And how big is the print bed on that one?
It's very small.
Very small. Okay.
And that's because you're paying. I mean, it wasn't a cheap printer. You're paying for the tech inside. You're not necessarily paying for the size.
So how many minis can you fit on one print bed on one of those?
On this one, if I'm doing the mini and the base, probably 4, depending on their size.
Okay, that's not bad.
Now, like my M3
and how long does each print take?
Probably about 3.5 hours.
That's really good, man.
Yeah, the quality.
So for 4 minis in 3.5 hours, that's.
Here, hold on a second.
All right, go.
This is something that this was actually printed on my Mars.
That's pretty dang good detail, man.
And the Ultra is far better than that.
Gotcha. Cool. So let's see here. So you have 4 machines. When you first started, what struggles did you have?
Basically learning the tech and learning to get the quality out of the prints that I wanted to get, because There's a
I
lot of
mean,
people
with
like
the
that
machines
too.
that you just named, it wasn't going to be hard because those machines that you
No,
just named, they
no, they're
produce
beasts.
amazing prints. Like they produce great product.
Yes, they do. It's all about your exposure time, basically. As soon as you drill that down on all these printers, and it also is dependent on the resin. I mean, a fine example is if I use Craftsman resin on my Photon, it takes less time than it would be for me to use maybe a tough resin.
Gotcha.
So you have to drill that stuff down, and as soon as you do that, you can just print nonstop. And I also have two cure and wash stations as well, one small and one big, so that way I don't have to worry about the mess of trying to cure them and wash them and all that stuff.
Gotcha. So how else does the business make money aside from selling minis and tiles?
Right now, I am actually going to I have actually invested in making polyhedral dice as well, but that is not going to be with printing. That is actually going to be with just resin casting.
Okay.
So, but they're going to be custom
do you offer
design.
like print services or design services or prototyping or anything like that?
I'm not at the level for design services right now. I am looking into offering print services because I definitely have the equipment to do so. So right now I'm just working on getting the Etsy business where I want it to go as far as getting everything up and getting that going. And then I'm going to start offering other services as far as that to grow the business.
So those sales that you have, that wasn't through Etsy. Where were those from?
Those were actually word of mouth.
Just word of mouth. And so it was just like hey, PayPal me or pay me cash or whatever. And I'll give you, hey man, that's how they all start. You know,
that's about it.
You don't need a full website. You don't need a full Etsy to start. You just need a transaction, which is an exchange of goods and services for money, right?
That's definitely it. And then once, and the crazy thing is I actually just got my first review and very excited about that. So it went.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
so
they
what's
were
next
very
for
impressed. I want to be known as the premier miniature seller on Etsy for quality and detail, because the detail on these things is just staggering. It really is.
I
compared
agree.
to anything else that I've tried.
So what's next for you, man? What's the future for Femme Fatale minis? What's the plan for going ahead?
Well, not only are we going to be doing the Etsy store, of course, but there are different art festivals and stuff we're going to be going to and getting our name out. Already working on getting my Facebook page where I need it to be, so that way that's there. I also have an artist that's going to be coming on board in regards to helping with getting the custom painted minis, where we're actually going to give them some options in regards to the color scheme. And then they can order the print, we'll paint it, and then we'll ship it out to them custom painted.
Awesome.
Long run, I want to be able to design my own miniatures that I can custom design for people. And that way I have more control over what, I'm sorry?
I know a guy who teaches.
Oh yeah, me too. I just met him. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to have to check into that because I just started working with Blender. And I also have right now I'm actually on my iPad Pro. So I'll be using, between that and Blender, I'm able to design and slice all on either system. So I can basically design something on my iPad Pro, slice it, put it on a memory stick, put it in my printer, print it out. I can do the same thing on my PC. So if I'm out somewhere and I have my tablet with me, it gives me the option to, something comes to my head, be able to design something and then just print it out when I get home.
Awesome, man. So, dude, that's it for me, man. I don't really have any other questions. So let's wrap this up with your number one tip for everyone who wants to start their own 3D printing business.
The best thing that you can keep in mind is that there's a lot to learn, but as long as you see the goal that you want to attain, it won't stop you.
You got to be persistent, you guys. You heard it from Steven himself. So as always, if you guys stay to the very, very end, I was going to give you your own product idea or your own tip for when you guys start your own 3D printing business. And today's tip is know your audience. All right. What does that mean? If you don't know who you're selling to, you don't know where they're going to be, and you're going to have the toughest time marketing. You guys, you have to know who you're selling to. I'm not going to be selling my files to a 10-year-old, although a 10-year-old is going to be the one who's going to be playing. Actually, not even a 10-year-old, a 7-year-old or a 6-year-old are going to be the ones playing with the toys that I make. But the ones who are going to be buying this stuff is not the kid, it's the adult who has a 3D printer. You get what I'm saying? So you guys have to know your audience. Otherwise, your marketing is going to have such a hard time. All right. So that's today's tip. Know your audience. Again, you guys, this is it for me. Steven, thank you so much for being on the show. If you guys need help building, starting, and scaling your own 3D printing side hustle, message me. We'll get you in the coaching program where I hold your hand and we'll get you to your first sale, hopefully within 30 days. All right. Steven, thanks for being on the show, man.
Thank you very much for having me, man.
Peace out.
Have a good one.